I guess like more interesting storylines, like more maybe action or something different, like not daily, like everyday life.
Probably more surprises, something with a twist, yeah.
Personally, I think our comedies are pretty lame over here. Local comedies. I prefer the drama films like Ilo Ilo.
Stories like Ilo Ilo, it's actually very local based and I can relate to it. Like when I grow up, I remember those past memories.
If you can make the storyline like close to us, like you can relate to the movie, or like it's interesting enough, there's a plot to it and things like that, maybe people will go and watch it.
The year started off with a bang for local cinema, with Taxi Taxi and Our Boys to Men 2 taking the box office by storm.
All the applicants for taxi license are very highly qualified one.
My application I sent in 2 weeks ago. My name is Professor
My
Chua.
dad is a professor.
All I want is to become a good soldier.
Training to be coward!
Training to be coward.
Fight for myself!
Fight for myself.
Since then, at least 6 other films have tried to give the two films a run for their money. The Wedding Diary 2, Ghost Child, Sex, Violence, Family Values, Judgment Day, and the recent That Girl in Pinafore and Ilo Ilo.
You can call me Terry, Mom. This is your bed. Sleep here.
How well did these films do at the box office, and what does it mean for the industry moving forward? To answer this question, with me in the studio today, we have Boon from the Straits Times and David Lee from the Singapore Film Society. Hello. So looking at the box office figures for local films this year, what are your first thoughts on it?
I think my first thought is that Our Boys to Men has really, run straight ahead of the pack because it's such a dominant film at the box office, and I think it's also the top grossing local film
of all time.
Of all time, yes.
And it is probably the only film or the only franchise that can compete with the Hollywood majors. Yeah, because hardly ever any other local or even Asian film had a chance to actually hit that kind of amount.
But going further down the list, what you notice is that very few films actually cross the million mark. Right, and when you think about it, that films cost between 700,000 to 800,000 to $1 million to make, and they might need to earn 3 to 4 times that amount before they start seeing a profit. Then you start wondering how viable is it for movies here.
Yeah, and as far as I know, looking at the list this year, although there's a slight improvement compared to the local movies from previous year, but most of them wouldn't break even as we are speaking now.
But domestic box office is not the be-all and end-all. Some films could travel overseas.
Looking at Jet News, our local box office king, but most of his movies doesn't travel that far and beyond Singapore and Malaysia. Like Our Boys to Men, for example, it did have a run in Taiwan, but it didn't do as well as they hope it can.
Yeah, but there's no question that the foreign box office is important, and I think producers do take that into account. Malaysia is definitely a steady source of income, but if you're talking about sales to beyond that, to territories beyond that, Ilo Ilo was a rather special case because having won the Camera d'Or, it does attract international attention. Yeah, and it's been sold to 15 to 20 territories.
Yes, and I definitely think it's because of its win at Cannes. It is the exception rather than the norm. Because as far as I know, for most number of years, even the art house film like Eric Khoo's, it didn't get that much of a commercial distribution outside of the usual territories.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news I understand is that Ilo Ilo actually was number 5 in Paris.
Wow.
Yeah.
For a local Singaporean Asian film even.
Very encouraging.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the factors contributing to the success of Our Boys to Men and Ilo Ilo?
I think they're very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Very different.
Yeah, you're comparing a durian with maybe an apple.
Well, actually, the two films are very different, but there is one thing that sort of links them together. They both have very relatable Singaporean themes, right? I mean, Our Boys to Men deals with NS, military service, and Ilo Ilo deals with mate's relationship with the Singapore family. And even for people who don't have mates, you know of someone who has.
Yes.
So that is also very relatable. I mean, they approach the subject very differently. The tone, approach is all very different, but they do have that commonality.
There are a couple of more films coming up.
Yes.
There's Michelle Chong's Three Peas in a Pod.
Yeah.
And I know David Hui just wrapped his Meeting the Giant. So what can we expect from local films?
I think we can expect, continued variety to be at the Cineplexes. You also have Innocence by
Wang Chen-si, yeah.
which was also an award winner at the festival, Shanghai Film Festival.
Yes, it is. She won the Best Director for New Currents. But unfortunately, that film is probably not deemed commercial enough to be accepted at local cinema. So it's going to be a limited release at the Arts House, which is like a screening venue for art house films. So we wish them luck and wish them well. I'm always for a local film to do well because that will open up more doors for other filmmakers.
All right, thank you so much for being here today.